Hey guys, George at SoundTraxx here. This week we're going to talk about our CV lock. Now if you remember, we've done a video like this in the past, and we'll send a link to that video in the description below. But what we're going to talk about today is a reason that you would use CV lock using CVs 15 and 16. So let's get started. Now, when we talk about CV lock is a way for you to be able to lock in the settings for your CVs using CV 15 and 16 so that you can't inadvertently change a CV either on the main or on the programming without yet unlocking it first. So the way this works, CV 15 represents the key, and there can be any number of keys 0 to 255. But CV 16 is the lock. And CV 16, there's only 8 locks, a value from 0 to a value of 7. When CV 15, the key, equals the lock, CV 16, you put the key in, you turn it, and everything's unlocked. Now you can program CVs. But when you're doing this with different values, that way your CV is locked. Now, one of the reasons you would want to use this is in the case here, we have our Baldwin and Others decoders installed in the Scale Train's Big Blow turbine. So in your CV settings as shown on the screen, we have different settings for the A unit, and then there's a different prime mover setting for the B unit. So when you're setting CV 123, you'll want to make sure that these are separate. And this is a reason why you would want to program them separately. So what you can do is you can enable CV lock. So to do this, first, CV 30 has to enable the lock. This way you can't accidentally enable a lock and then therefore block yourself out of your decoder. So CV 30 has to be set to a value of 1 first to enable the lock codes to even function at all. Next, you have CV 15 and 16. And in this case, what you can do is you can take your lead unit, and we'll say we're going to use lock code 1 because it's the lead unit, so CV 16 would equal a value of 1. Then our B unit here, when you're setting your lock codes, can be the second unit, and so we'll set the lock code CV 16 to a value of 2. That way, when you set CV 15 to a value of 0, both of these decoders are locked. When you set CV 15 to a value of 1, you're going to be talking to this decoder. When you set CV 15 to a value of 2, you're going to be talking to this decoder. Now, the reason this is relevant is because, as you see on the side here, both units are numbered 26. And this is technically a single locomotive. Locomotive A, B, and then, of course, the third unit with the tender. And there's actually a decoder in here for the lighting unit as well. So again, you may decide you want to set those up differently. But when you're running these CV codes, you're going to talk to locomotive 26. You're going to set CV 15 to a value of 1. And then you're going to know that you're setting CVs on this unit only. Then when you're on the second unit and you set CV 15 to a value of 2, you're going to be enabled to talk to this locomotive only, and all the settings in A are going to be stored and protected, so any commands you send to change CVs, even though they're both on the track at the same time, will not affect the locked unit. The programming commands will be sent, the decoder will know it's locked, and therefore it will know that not to respond to those commands. Now, another setting you may have is if you have 2 locomotives that are back to back and you want to set them up as the same address, this gives you that opportunity to do that as well. But this is a classic example of why you would want to set A and B units differently and have lock codes separate from each one. And again, the other video that I referenced before goes into a lot more detail of how the lock codes work. Now, this also works with our Blunami. Now, in Blunami, there's not a menu option to be able to go in and set the lock code. So you're going to have to do this with the CVs. So on our screen, we're going to go down to Settings, and we're going to click on CV Settings. And up here at the top of the screen, you're going to see CV number. And here's where we're going to type in CV number 30. And then, as I mentioned, we need to enable the lock code. So we're going to set this to a value of 1. And then we're going to go ahead and write the CV. Now, then we can go back and address CV 15 and 16. So in this case, I'm going to lock the decoder by changing CV 16. I'm going to change the lock from a value of 0 to a value of 1. So when I set CV 16 to a value of 1 and I write it, now my decoder is locked. Now, to prove this, we're going to go ahead and back to my settings. Now we're going to go to Sound Settings, and we're going to go to Main Sounds, and we're going to try to change the air horn. Now at this moment in time, you can see on the screen that it's a Nathan K3LA, and I'm going to blow the horn so that you can hear the sample. So you can hear how that is a K3LA. Now on the menu here, I'm going to go ahead and try to change the air horn to a more common K5LA. That's typically what you would see in an Amtrak locomotive. So now I press that. Now the command has been sent to change it, but the decoder is locked, so it ignores the command. So now when I test the air horn, you're going to notice that it's the exact same horn that we did before, even though the menu option shows it's a K5LA. Now because the CV wasn't actually set because the decoder was locked, the menu options in this case are actually mismatched. So now when we want to enable the decoder to be able to be changed, we're going to go ahead and allow CV adjustments. In this case, we're going to select the different air horn. So we're going to go back to our CV settings. Now remember, CV16 is a value of 1. So now in order to unlock it, we have to change CV15 to a value of 1. Now when I write CV15 to a value of 1, you're going to see that our air horn now settings are allowed to be changed because 16 is what we set to 1, so 15 has to equal 1 to match. So again, our key matches the lock. So now we go to our menu, we're going to click down our menu, and we're going to pick a different K5LA air horn. Now when I play the horn, you can hear now that the decoder is changed. You can actually now unlock it and make all the changes you want, and then you can go back in and set CV15 back to a value of 0 so that way you can make your changes. Now for more information on this, please visit our website at SoundTraxx.com. Be sure to check out the user's guide for the Blunami and the Tsunami2, where you can see all of the cool features that we've talked about on these videos and where you can learn how to do them and what they are. Also, be sure to check out our other videos as we've talked about on the CV lock and other features we've talked about. And then last, be sure to hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so that you can be notified the next time we have new videos launched on our YouTube channel so that you can watch them first. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.